My name is James Allen Cohn. This is Miss Hit's AP English. Today is March 18th, and I chose to read The Perfect Storm by Sebastian Junger. Sebastian Junger is not only an author, but also a journalist and documentary filmmaker. He was born in Massachusetts, which may have had something to do with his interest in this subject. In the beginning, the setting takes place in the small fishing village of Gloucester, Massachusetts. When the fishermen come in from long trips, they pile into the local bar called the Crow's Nest, which is conveniently located right next to the marina. However, as the book progresses, the majority of the time is spent on the 72-foot vessel, the Andrea Gale. The vessel is positioned 50 miles off of Newfoundland on the Grand Banks. This place is notorious for large storms, however fishermen are willing to risk it in order to gain their own small fortune. This book begins when 6 men, all with separate financial burdens, set out for a month of sword fishing in the Andrea Gale. The method of fishing employed by the Andrea Gale is called longlining. As soon as they reach the fishing grounds, thousands of hooks are set out each night on up to 50 miles of fishing line. Fishing for the first few weeks starts off slow, but the captain is confident that a few more sets will produce enough swordfish to make the trip home. On October 24th, the crew begins the journey back to port. Unfortunately, though, they would run into what soon became known as the perfect storm. Sebastian Junger, in the book The Perfect Storm, asserts that fishermen live a rough and money-crazed life, and in their battle against the sea, nature will always win. According to Junger, the shoulder muscles that resulted from a lifetime of such work made fishermen easily recognizable on the street. They were called handliners, and people got out of their way. Another quote that supports my thesis states, "Early fishing in Gloucester was the roughest sort of business, and one of the deadliest." The purpose of this novel was to entertain a large audience interested in anything from fishing to weather. It also seemed like the author wanted to make people aware of the hardships faced by everyday fishermen. Meanwhile, the author writes in an informative yet exciting tone for his audience of avid thrill junkies and quizzical readers. Although there is no clear main character, Bobby Shatford appears to be focused on the most. He can best be described as a slight alcoholic who was a novice fisherman but a hard worker. Bobby's girlfriend, Chris Cotter, is reasonably upset about the lifestyle of a fisherman's girlfriend. Before she sees Bobby one last time, she gets a weird feeling about what would be his last trip. Billy Tyne is the captain of the Andrea Gale. Like most fishermen, he is tough and has some weird knack for always finding where the fish are schooling. Around 9 o'clock, a half moon emerges off their port quarter. The air is calm, the sky is full of stars. 2,000 miles away, weather systems are starting to collide. This quote appeals to the senses because it symbolizes the calm before the storm. Another favorite quote of mine said, "The wind made a sound he'd never heard before, a deep tonal vibration like a church organ." This quote appeals to the sense of hearing because hurricane-force winds make foreboding sounds. Perhaps the most prevalent form of rhetorical device used in this book was jargon. For example, the Andrea Gale has a padded chair in her wheelhouse, but it's set back from the helm so that no one can fall asleep on watch. Another rhetorical device used was a simile. Junger said, "Money flows through a fisherman like water through a fishing net." One last rhetorical device used was an illusion. Junger said of sword fishermen in particular, "They're the high rollers of the fishing world." Most critiques for this book praised its historical and intellectual value, and one ET Weekly reporter called it ferociously dramatic and vividly written. Few and far between were the negative reviews, but one anonymous reporter said it was hard to grasp in 4 minutes. In my opinion, this book had a chilling storyline that was enhanced by the fact that it was non-fiction. After reading this, I came away both entertained and more informed on an important weather phenomenon. I suggest that anyone with an interest in the ocean reads this book.